Now, when it comes to Tyler, the Creator, what's happening with Tyler, the Creator, and the future of his career is really bad. And if you are ready to see no matter what side you stand on in this situation, well, with the decisions Tyler has already made and with the conversation brewing, his entire career has changed forever. And really all we can say right now is that after this, nothing will ever be the same again. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And now really, as what we are seeing happen to Tyler, the Creator, and really this latest controversy that he has gotten into, well, is the culmination of multiple breaking points that have been building for really years. Make sure to leave a like because right now when we look at hip-hop, aside from the crash out cupcake losers on the side of Drake and the kings and leaders of the genre in Kendrick Lamar, this middle ground in hip-hop stardom that has always represented something completely different that Tyler has been the face of is completely crumbling right now, and not just because Tyler is turning on the very fan base that he has built to become a superstar, but because with that very move, this seemingly middle lane that kind of created what we can call the unpredictable rap star in position contrasted to a Kendrick or a Drake or a J. Cole. Well, if Tyler continues to go the way that he has just declared to, we may never see another rapper fill even a quarter of the void that Tyler is going to leave. And so where we have to look to see where after a lot of backlash and even just a recent interaction he had with a fan which went terrible, where Tyler has just hit his ultimate breaking point and he doesn't care what he loses, but he needs to just speak his mind. Well, it all just came down to what just happened with the passing of D'Angelo, which first thing I do want to say is just long live to one of the greatest artists that we have seen really of the last 50 years or so, and a guy who despite only having 3 albums, well, all 3 of them are classics, and you could pretty much say that they are 5 mic albums, and seemingly with the passing of one of Tyler's biggest musical influences and one of his favorite artists ever. Well, when trying to pay tribute to one of the most integral people to just defining his identity and sound as an artist, Tyler has reached his breaking point, which comes full circle from the way that his fans responded to this very tribute. And when you look at what they were saying, and people were asking about when's the next album dropping, and there was just all these other insensitive comments that just show no regard both for the lineage of music and the legend that Tyler was trying to honor, and also just his personal feelings without having this weird parasocial relationship where fans are just being way too weird. Well, again, after already all of the things that we have seen Tyler complain about, which there has been such a long lineage building to this point, all the way from Colossus on Wolf to Chromacopia as an album as a whole and the track Noise specifically, to the recent Encounterment, to so many other moments all the way to here, well, Tyler has just decided that this needs to stop, and he really is at a point where he is looking at the audience that he has amassed, and while it has allowed him to become a superstar, just with how out of touch they are with the things that actually hold relevance to him, and just with normal and decent feelings, and as Tyler has been very vocal about, respect for the culture and craft that has ultimately defined who he is. Well, Tyler is doing something that most artists are really never in a position to do, which is now to just try and push back fans from supporting him if they are just going to stand on this side where they are so out of touch with what they are actually consuming and what the artist's ideals actually are. And how we now know that Tyler has really reached a breaking point more than ever was both from a post that he put up and then put down, and then just from some of the other discourse going on online. Tyler ended up liking some other posts of fans who were echoing the right sentiment that he is trying to stand on. And so just seeing Tyler recognize these things as issues and him really being fed up with the way his own audience is respecting the things that he cares about, and honestly just the deeper music lineage that he has really been trying to show off and progress, whether people have been conscious of that or not, really for the past 4 or 5 albums at the very least. Ultimately, now seeing Tyler call out and almost beef with the very audience that helped build him into the 3rd most successful touring act in all of hip-hop, Well, things get very interesting here, and before we can go any further into the conversation that people are trying to have and honestly use against Tyler, which is all about how he has built up his own fan base and this is the very product of the audience that he has catered to, there is a lot more to this situation that needs to be discussed, which in of itself, even with the position that Tyler is now in, with him really being at a crossroads where it does seem like he wants to shrink and push away a lot of fans. When we look at artists transition into different eras of their careers and see their size or popularity just shrink as they go, well, usually for most artists, it's the other way around, and it's that the fans have left them because the artists are trying too hard to cater to something that doesn't exist. Or in the case of something we are seeing with like a Drake or a Young Thug or any of the other rappers who have been underperforming since the Kendrick beef, well, their own failures are making people less interested in what they are doing. And even when you just consider that for Tyler and see how this is a guy who was at the peak of his career and who is one of the biggest superstars in music, but well, with the choices that he is starting to make, he is showing that he doesn't want any of it anymore because of how out of touch his fans really are with who he is. This is just such a unique situation, and there's two people that I think we really need to just look at and kind of understand to just get a better idea of where Tyler is at in the history of music and just other comparable moments to this in different careers, which the first person that I want to highlight here is none other than Prince, who when he was getting into his 40s and 50s, well, became pretty much a completely different person than he was in the first half of his career, and with this, a lot of fans just couldn't accept it, and that did end up changing his perception and his star status for the rest of his time in the limelight. And you know, as Prince to me has always just been one of the wisest figures in all of music, and really every single thing that he taught and said, whether you're looking at it from the side of the industry with everything about owning your masters, or you're looking at it from a creative lens, it's invaluable. And what Prince once said in this later part of his career, where he was addressing how fans have become disillusioned with who he really is, and you know, they want the original, and I guess you could say more edgier version that he became in the 70s and 80s. Well, ultimately what Prince said about this and what he really stood on in terms of just following your artistic and creative vision no matter what are a few but very powerful words. You're going to get the audience you deserve, and I just think with this conversation and with what's happening to Tyler, that is just a perfect phrase to really scale this entire situation with. But to just build on that and really look at it through more of a hip-hop lens and even frame it through one of Tyler's mentors, well, now I know some people got mad that I had to make this comparison in the last video I talked about Tyler in, and people were just complaining on how essential I thought it was. I think this connection is only becoming more essential every day, and what I am talking about is the connection between Tyler the Creator and Andre 3000. And you know, as I am seeing Tyler just get mad the way he is and really go at a point where he is trying to push fans away, all I can think of is Andre 3000 at the very end of his career, and after he reached superstardom in a way like no other rapper really ever reached before, well, as Andre was doing things that really nobody understood, and because of all of the different entry points that he appealed to, he had such a different audience from all perspectives of that word. I mean, ultimately, a lot of these very things that Tyler is talking about seem to push Andre 3000 away, and I think when we want to look at a quote from him, well, all we have to do is go to his biggest song and one of the biggest songs of the century in Hey Ya, and it's all in the song and it's all in the message that really I think Andre's legacy is best defined by, which is just the classic words, y'all don't want to hear me, y'all want to dance. And I just think with those very words, even more than Prince, they are invaluable to just understand what Tyler is going through right now and just how this is all going to work. Because while Tyler can feel this way, and I definitely get where he's coming from and how annoying it must be when you are trying to pay tribute to one of your biggest inspirations and you are devastated over it, and you got these weird fans who don't even understand who D'Angelo is asking about an album, well, ultimately, Tyler is just at a point where while people are trying to blame the choices he made in his career for this, and you know, there are a lot of people trying to have gotcha moments on him for a lot of the earlier Odd Future stuff, a lot of the edgier stuff, and a lot of things that he wouldn't do and really just doesn't align with now, well, I get the point that people are saying, but also if we really want to just break down this situation more, what I would just say is that ultimately for Tyler, and for being a mogul who has done so many different things within his career, cater to so many different groups, styles and niches, both musically and with all of the other Odd Future stuff. And you know, Tyler has also done a ton of things outside of those, which have just expanded his base more and more. Well, I mean, Andre realized this and Prince realized this in different ways, and they decided to go about it in different ways also. But this is the price for reaching superstardom, and especially in this era where relationships have become more parasocial, and you know, there is just so much more proximity to these stars. What we have to understand is that really when it comes to rappers who became superstars and megastars around the years of 2009 to 2010 and on, if you really want to break things down, we have seen 6 hip-hop superstars in this time at the highest level in terms of just emerging in this time period. And if we really break it out, those 6 are Travis Scott, Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, Drake, Nicki Minaj, and Tyler, the Creator. And just with all of these people who have reached really the pinnacle and peak of what being a hip-hop megastar can be, just in terms of having these massive songs, massive albums, massive tours, massive moments, and massive fan bases. Well, I mean, first off, if we want to just look at what the product of rap superstardom could actually cultivate you with a fan base, first off, Tyler is far from the worst person here, because from Travis Scott, which I mean, we have seen the things that have happened at his shows, I don't think that needs any more comments, to Drake and the Young Money artists, which their fans are just so out there now that honestly, sometimes you feel like they are more responsible for their artist's downfall than even the artist is. Which I mean just leaves you with Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole's fan bases, which if we look at them, they have been the foundation of traditional hip-hop in this era, and if we look at their careers, well, from J. Cole to Jay-Z and all the Rockefeller stuff, to Kendrick with Dr. Dre, Eminem, Snoop Dogg, and all of the Aftermath stuff, Kendrick and Cole have really built on just a lineage in hip-hop that is so great and so respected that it almost feels like they're uncomparable. And even if we look at the other 3 superstars here who we are talking about, well, they come from other hip-hop powerhouses as well. And just on this conversation of stardom and the audiences you have built, well, one thing you can say about Tyler that you can't say about any of these other people is that he did it all with no cosigns, and he did it by building his own vision that was just able to get him to the top. And listen, when you look at the conversations we are seeing now, and you even see how frustrated Tyler is with his fan base, well, listen, well, I can personally say that seeing an album like Chromacopia live in an arena of 20,000 people, or Call Me If You Get Lost, or seeing Call Me If You Get Lost and Igor win Grammys was amazing, just in terms of seeing Tyler get the recognition that it felt like he never would have gotten as an outsider for so long. At the same time as this, to see the product of where Tyler is at now, where pretty much every time he tries to really teach about the history of the music he loves, well, whether it's DJ drama on Call Me If You Get Lost, or whether it's what we're seeing here with D'Angelo, a lot of times his fans just don't even put the care and appreciation in that he does to the very music to just understand the nuances and things he is trying to build and expand upon. I don't think any of us can say if this is worth it or not, but what we can point out objectively is that this is what rap superstardom is. And if you just want to reach the top in really any fan base that you want to look at, maybe outside of Kendrick's and maybe Cole's, this is what you have to experience and this is what you have to face. And really, that's it. I can't answer this question, nor can you. And it's ultimately going to be up to Tyler to just take all of this in and also look back at the other artists who were in this similar position and just answer the question, was it all worth it? And so yeah, that's all I got today. Please let me know your thoughts on this situation, because honestly, as usually I do have some sort of an answer or a bigger point that I can definitively circle a box with when I have these types of conversations. This is really one of those open-ended moments that I don't think anybody can genuinely answer, maybe other than Tyler. But seriously, on this note, as Tyler has definitely reached a breaking point, I am very curious to see where his career goes from here. But in the meantime, if you made it to this point in the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It really does help me out a ton, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. But if you want to stick around here and see how right before this, well, speaking of rap downfalls that happen for the worst reasons, Drake just humiliated himself even more by really begging people to stop with the lawsuit hate. Check out the suggested video.